Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a hump day edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Remember, Brock, Rock and Wine, 1 week from Saturday. Looking forward to that. Hope to see all of you there. Parish Construction Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. We'd love to give you that free, no obligation roofing inspection. All you have to do is go to parishbuilt.com. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and pin the Parish link in the YouTube chat. All you got to do, go to parishbuilt.com. That's parishbuilt.com. And fill out the form on the homepage, and we'll give you that. We'll come set up that free, no obligation roofing inspection. So certainly appreciate everyone who's helped us grow Parish in this in its infancy. We're thrilled with with everything we've been able to do so far, and are we're very much looking forward to the future. Okay, there we go. It's pinned now. Excuse me. Okay. Of course, unique physique, semaglutide, tirzepatide, once a week injections for weight loss, and they do offer telemed initial consults. So if you don't even want to go into the office, you could handle the whole thing over the phone. So uniquephysique.com. Check them out. Tell them Matt sent you in. All right, y'all. Say some good mornings. Of course, the fantastic news for LSU. Jared Jones, Michael Braswell announced they're returning to LSU. That's just fantastic news for Jay Johnson and the Tigers. We're here at SEC Media Days in my hotel here at the Omni, but obviously with LSU football having gone on Monday, we're talking plenty of SEC Media Days. But man, what amazing news! So now, remember, 2 weeks ago, our whole conversation around LSU baseball was, man, they got to get infielders. You felt good about Brown and Larson and Pearson and Stanfield in the outfield, Derek Curiel coming in. You felt good about the outfield. And you'd added a whole lot of arms as well. What was really concerning is we're looking around going, man, is Stephen Milam the only infielder returning? Jones and Braswell obviously could have gone pro. Tommy White was going to be a high draft pick. Milazzo Travinsky out of eligibility. We're looking around going, man, what's this going to look like? Well, now Jones passes on the draft. Braswell's coming back for his senior year. You return Milam. That's 3 of your 4. So Blaze Priester, also the great news, went undrafted. So Priester will be on LSU's campus, and presuming he'll be your starting catcher with Cade Beatty, the talented freshman, backing him up and ready to take that job next season, or in 2026, I should say. And so really all you got to do is replace Tommy White at third base. I'm not saying that's an easy chore. Tommy White's, an All-American. But you're bringing in Daniel Dickinson from Utah Valley, who is certainly a candidate to be a day one starter. Tanner Reeves, JUCO infielder, could certainly push to win a job. You look at the freshman class you're bringing in. Michael Ryan is a really talented player. You've got options, man. You got some really good options now with really one job open at third base. So and then you add William Schmidt. All of a sudden, LSU looks really, really formidable right now. So that's fantastic news for LSU. I mean, Braswell and Jones were 2 of your leading hitters in conference play this year. Of course, it was Larson, Braswell, and Jones that were your leading hitters in SEC play. So, really significant. I mean, it's hard to understate. I mean, we were looking at the possibility of losing Jones and White and Travinsky. I mean, you were losing all of your top home run hitters, all your top power guys. Well, now returning Jones and Braswell, God, is just massive, just massively significant. So great news for LSU baseball. And then, of course, today is day 3 at SEC Media Days. I think today is sort of the most star-studded day, probably the most interesting day. So Kalen DeBoer and Alabama lead off the day. First time Nick Saban hasn't been at SEC Media Days as a coach, since 2006. 07 was his first season back at Bama. So Kalen DeBoer in Alabama, obviously that's massive this year. We'll also see Steve Sarkisian in Texas today. their first time through with all the playoff expectation around Texas. And then, you look at the other two schools that are here. Jeff Lebby in Mississippi State's a first-year head coach. And then Billy Napier in Florida. Billy Napier might be here for the final time, depending on how this season goes. And there's not many people super high on the Gators, really in large part because of that schedule that they play, which might be the toughest in college football. So those are the four teams that take their turn today. So, all right, y'all, do me a favor. If you're there on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell so you're notified when we go live or post a video. Facebook, like the Matt Scone page, share the post. We appreciate y'all for being there with us as well, or follow, I should say, the profile, share the post. We appreciate you greatly. Okay, let's say some good mornings. Hey, Tim, good morning. Kelly Gross, Jesse Brown, what's going on? James McKinney, good to see you. Tiger Diver, morning, Scone. Who do you think gets fired? Who do you think gets fired first? Sam Pittman at Arkansas or Billy Napier at Florida? Well, I think the interesting thing about Florida is Florida's schedule is manageable until the end. So Napier may make it to November. Like, let's look at what Arkansas has. They have Arkansas Pine Bluff, then they're at Oklahoma State in Stillwater. They play UAB, then they're at Auburn. So that's a brutal start. I mean, if they lose at Oklahoma State and at Auburn, they start 2-2. Then they have the neutral site game against A&M in Arlington, and then they're home against Tennessee. I mean, they could start 2-4. I mean, it's very, very plausible they start 2-4. They get their open date, and then LSU goes to Arkansas. And then they're at Mississippi State, home against Ole Miss. Then they have their open date. So if they start 2-4, and then let's say in that stretch of LSU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, maybe they go 0-3, and so they're 2-7. I could see them firing Sam Pittman there in the open date, and then they finish with Texas, Louisiana Tech, and then Missouri. So maybe you give someone, those final 3 weeks. So November 9th, or after the November 2nd game is when maybe to start November, I could see something like that happening with Arkansas. Now with Florida, they actually have a manageable start to the season. Now they open with Miami. I'm not saying that's easy, but they're home. So they're home against Miami. Then they play Samford, A&M, but again at home. They're at Mississippi State. They get an open date. Then they play Central Florida. And then they're at Kentucky. Or excuse me, at Tennessee. Not easy. Then they get Kentucky again, or Kentucky at home. Then they're off again. And then but this is how they finish. So this is what's brutal for Florida. I mean, they got tough games there. Again, they got to play A&M. They got to play Miami, A&M, at Tennessee. I'm not saying that's easy, but listen how they finish. This is their November. Georgia, at Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, at Florida State. I mean, I think they're losing their last 5 games. So whatever they are, like let's say they split Miami and A&M and lose at Tennessee. I mean, I think at best they're 5-7. I think at best this is a 5-7 football team. So who gets fired first? It might be a race between those two guys, but if there is an in season, just because I think Arkansas has a much tougher start to the schedule, they could get to a point, that open date at the start of November, where they would fire Sam Pittman. Just if I'm guessing, okay. Bubba, morning, Sconer. Seeing that lobby yesterday gave me flashbacks of my externship during culinary school. Hey, Devin Kelly, good morning. Daniel, good morning. Hey, Steve Menard, what's going on, man? Hope you're doing well in your part of the world right now, Steve. Brett DeGrow, morning, Scone. We got bear sightings in Baton Rouge. We're ready to roll in 2025. Book the rooms in Omaha. Look, man, you are as strongly positioned as you could have possibly hoped for, realistically. I mean, you lost the pitchers that we knew you were going to lose to the draft, right? Holman, Jump, Hurd, Lohr, Yoa, all those guys, and Tommy White. Other than that, I mean, getting Jones and Braswell back and getting Schmidt on campus, and and Curiel, and then dodging the bullet with Priester. Yeah, man. I mean, huge. Um, Randall getting Braswell back is just as big as Jones coming back. Um, I'm so the only reason I would disagree is specifically because um of the power tool. Like getting Jones's 28 homers back is so big because you just don't have anybody else on the roster right now capable of that. So um I think it's massive getting Braswell back. Like so in conference play, and I misspoke. Tommy White was your second leading hitter in conference play. But here you go. Here was your leading hitters in conference play. Larson at 337, he returns. Tommy White at 318, obviously gone. But then Braswell 310, Jared Jones 277 in conference play. Milan was 265. So I mean, you returned 4 of your top 5 hitters in conference play, and obviously you returned 28 homers from Jared Jones. So I mean, yes, I think it's very significant having Michael Braswell back, no doubt. But if you gave me my pick, which one would I want? I think, like, if I only could have one, I would take Jones because of the power in the middle of the lineup. I'd feel comfortable with Milam, Dickinson, Michael Ryan, um, Tanner Reeves. I would feel really good about those guys vying for the 2 spots on the left side of the infield. Getting Braswell back, though, was just massive. I mean, you get a senior back who had 300 in conference play last year. So Stephen Miller, good morning. What a great week in the Big D so far. Thank you, man. I appreciate all the everybody who's watched and or listened. OTB's on right now if you want to tune in with the guys. I know they have Marty Smith coming up with them at 9 a.m. and I think they might be getting Jeff Levy this morning in the last hour of the show. Either they'll have him live or I'll have him recorded at the end of their day at Mississippi State. So, but yeah, man, thank you for thanks for the kind words, Stephen, and for everybody who's been watching. Uh, Dale, 2 huge misses for Corey Raymond. I guess that's why they paid him so little. Dale, I'm going to push back on you, man. Whenever, so DJ Pickett is the 5-star who announces today, by the way, 5-star number one, 5-star number one cornerback in the country out of Florida. And we don't know what he's going to do. It's either LSU, Miami, or Oregon. And the industry expectation is that he's going to pick Oregon. DJ Pickett said on the record to On 3 that his relationship with Corey Raymond is like no other. Raymond was recruiting him he's from Florida. So Raymond was recruiting him to Florida. When Raymond got to LSU, he started recruiting him to LSU. And I mean, LSU was thought to be the front runner in this thing all the way along. And then Oregon pops up. I was told yesterday what LSU's NIL offer was for DJ Pickett. And I will tell you the NIL offer that LSU put on the table for DJ Pickett is more than any player on LSU's team currently is making in NIL. So Dale, if the coach is recruiting the kid says my relationship with this coach is like no other. LSU makes its most lucrative NIL. It's an NIL offer more than they're paying anyone currently through the collective. What else can you do? Please tell me. I would love for you to tell me. Please, I'm not being facetious. Please tell me what else you can do. You can't tie the kid up and force him to come to your school. The kid loves the coach. You've made a very generous NIL offer. I mean, I did talk to someone affiliated with LSU's football program. I'm not going to mention a name, who feels very confident that they are going to get DJ Pickett today. I don't know. I don't exist in recruiting circles. I've never talked to DJ Pickett, so I have no clue. Billy Embody yesterday on AFR said the feeling is that he's going to go to Oregon, but we'll see what happens today. But I genuinely don't know what else you could possibly want the guy to do. at this point. So if you have an idea, you let me know. You let me know what else Corey Raymond could have done. Stephen Miller. Now the question is, how will Jay manipulate this lineup and the pitching staff? I mean, I think. I think the big change is Dickinson probably goes to the leadoff spot. And as far as the line, as far as the rotation, I think Chase Shore is going to be your number one. I think Cade Anderson probably is your number two starter, and then one of the transfers wins the job and is your number three. I would think that's probably how it goes. And then William Schmidt very well could be your midweek guy. But that battle is going to be so interesting because you got a bunch of dudes that are used to being weekend starters, and they're all going to be vying for those spots now. Bayou John, how did Mississippi State lead the SEC and MLB draft picks with 11, and they are 12th in NIL? Blows me away. Well, I mean, keep in mind, Bayou John, Jared Jones is a draftable prospect, but decided to return. Michael Braswell would have been a draftable prospect, decided to return. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes guys make that's part of this conversation here. Is some of the guys decided they didn't like the offer they had, so they made the decision to return. So it's not as binary as like saying, oh, we had 12 people drafted, because LSU could have had more if those guys were more willing to take the money that they were offered, but they had a better opportunity to return to LSU. Joel, does Kucherov return? I don't know. My guess would be not. With Braswell returning, Milam, going to get Daniel Dickinson, Tanner Reeves coming in, Michael Ryan, and all the guys you just mentioned, my guess would be no. Leon Will, but I don't know. I have no idea. Morning, time to get that natty. Caleb, all of a sudden this LSU team is stacked. Lots of talent across the board. Dickinson along with Bear Jones, Brown, Larson in the outfield. Excited to see how good the pitching can be. Yeah, man. Fair to say a decidedly different vibe from fans right now around the LSU baseball team than what many of you were feeling with the melt a few weeks ago. Why can't they get any big name transfers? Why is everybody leaving? You also got to be patient and trust Jay Johnson, man. God knows what he's doing. I would like to see them add more catcher depth and another left-handed arm. Rex, good morning. Ethan, Jay may be the best recruiter in college baseball. Question is, can he get top-tier talent to produce? The last two talents from the previous class didn't produce. Who are you talking about? Cody Kibido, morning, Matt. Is there any concern about left-handed pitching, or rather roster? We only have 5 lefties. Well, keep in mind you had 9 last year, and that was a glut. I would say that was too many. I would like to get one more guy that actually has innings under his belt. But yes, I pretty consistently said the 2 things that you'd love to add at this point are a left-handed pitcher and catching depth. Let's see. To the top SEC home run hitters did not get drafted. Bear Jones, Hunter Hines will all return. Ethan. Oh, the top prospects are Kling and Johnson. You could say that, but then I could flip it on your head and say, well, look at Stephen Milam and how great he was as a freshman. The way that Ashton Larson played as a freshman. Recruiting rankings are what they are. You're getting productivity out of your classes. I don't think that's even really a question. Bear Jones. Dustin Bolello, Brian Wynn, Bubba Smith, Larry Garner, Taylor Hudson, what's up? Stephen Miller, Florida opens with Miami, huge game. I'm a little behind on comments. I am behind. My apologies. All right, let me go a little quicker. Wendell, what's going on? Robert, LSU baseball roster seems to be loaded. I think this team can go all the way, or is that premature? Robert, I think that's always the expectation at LSU. Look, Florida this past year was a 500 team that almost didn't make it into the field because they were threatening to be sub 500. And they went to Omaha and darn near won the thing. So, yeah, of course, it's baseball. It's a great thing about baseball. And they're they're plenty stacked to be able to do it. It's just got to all come together. Weston, all right, celebrating my oldest today, Camry Marie, turning the big 8. Very good. Thanks for sharing, Weston, and happy birthday to Camry. Hope y'all have an awesome, awesome day, and hope mom and dad get you everything you want, all the toys, all the candy, all the cake, all the good stuff, and they treat you awesome today. So have a great day, Camry Marie. Stephen Robeek, what up, dude? Great to see you over the weekend, man. Hope you're feeling better, dude. Gotta give me an update when you can, bud. Abner, Damon, Jacob, LSU baseball went from a rebuild to an Natty contender over the weekend. Very exciting time to be a Tiger. I don't know that I would say a rebuild. I mean, they certainly had to reshape the roster, but I don't think they were in like rebuild mode. I mean, I think the expectation was still going to be for that team to be an Omaha contender. I think that's the expectation every year at LSU. Rocky, good morning. I don't think I remember another SEC Media Days where we seem to be talking more about LSU baseball than football. Wow, but I'm here for it. Well, Rocky, the tricky part is like LSU went Monday. You know what I mean? And the draft coincided with Media Days, which doesn't always happen. So the fact that the draft is overlapping SEC Media Days for and they made the draft a 3-day event this year. Typically, it's a 2-day event. So that's another part of it as well. Eric, you pointed out last year the main problem was Jay feeling the need to get all the talent, get all of the talent reps versus setting a lineup. I agree on that. All this talent is incredible. Are we not right back in the same spot? It's a good question, man. But I think a big part of it was a lot of the high school guys that they had coming in feeling like they had to get some of those arms innings, and a lot of those guys work in the infield. And ultimately, they did settle on a lineup. But I think when you return as many starters as you do, like, unless if Cade Aaron Beatty blows up, Cade Priester is going to be your catcher. Bear Jones is your first baseman. Milanger, second baseman. Braswell's your shortstop. You let those guys battle it out to see who's going to win the starting job at third. And 2 of your 3 starting outfielders are going to be Jake Brown and Ashton Larson. So that means Curiel, Pearson, Stanfield go compete for maybe the left field spot. So really, I'm just looking at third base and probably left field that's open, and then let those sluggers compete for the DH job. So I don't know that it's quite the same thing as losing everything you lost from the national championship team. I mean, you lost Joe Bear and, well, of course, Cruz, Beloso, Gavin Dugas, Jordan Thompson. I mean, you lost all those starters from that team, so all those jobs were open. You don't have all those jobs open this year. That is the big difference. Mr. Wallace, morning, Matt. Christmas came early and the day before Drew's birthday. Ryan Pike, if UT's rumored NIL expenditure is $20 million this year, what do you think Oregon's is? I would assume probably around there. Same with Texas and Ole Miss. Steven, that's my question to Jay. Jay mentioned at year end, we may have had too much talent. What do you think, Jay? Yeah, do you think Jay will do less shuffling? I kind of just answered that for Eric, but I do, just because I mean, just think of all the jobs you had open. And then, you lost Skeens and Floyd, Riley Cooper, such a key part of what you did at the bullpen. You had innings and at-bats and starts available to be won. I think anybody coming to this roster this year looks and says, all right, well, there's a job at third, there's a job in left, potentially, and the DH role is open. You got to figure out the rotation, but that tends to work itself out sometimes in the pre-conference. Melody, just watched Locked On, great episode. Thank you, Melody. Appreciate it. I'll continue to mention that, man. If you haven't done so yet, Locked On LSU. I got great news, y'all. I told y'all when we started Locked On, my goal was to have Locked On LSU in the top 10 by the end of July. And then by the time LSU starts fall camp, by the time they get through fall camp and start the season, so September 1st, when they open the season, I wanted to have Locked On LSU back to the level it was whenever I left 2 years ago. And very pleased to tell you that out of the 60 or so college shows, whenever I started Locked on LSU, I think it was like 42 or 47 somewhere. It was in the 40s. Mid-month here in July, we are fourth. So I'm not happy at 4. I want to be 1, but I'm thrilled that we've gone from the 40s to 4 in 1 month. So thank you, thank you, thank you for everybody. Christian OTB just finished up with the commissioner. Greg gave you a shout. What did he give me a shout out for? I'll have to go back and listen. I had Sankey on yesterday for those that missed it. He and I have developed he and I have developed a pretty good rapport. I think, the more you show up at events like this, and championship games and so on, I think he appreciates and respects the support, right? The fact that we're always here and at things, because the media doesn't have to come to this. And then he's a very cerebral guy, and I think he appreciates the fact that I try to challenge him. And I don't necessarily kiss up. I'm very respectful and appreciative of his time, which I sincerely am. He doesn't have to go do all those interviews, but I'm also not just going to sit there and lob him softballs. I'm going to push him and challenge. If I get 10, 12 minutes with commissioner, I'm going to be very, very grateful for that time, but I'm also going to try to maximize that time. And I think he respects that. Anyway, I'll have to go listen. I don't know what he said. Bailey, LSU being poor. So, LSU, Bailey. LSU is very much in the group of the haves. So we were talking about DJ Pickett, and I'll share this. I know y'all gonna take it and go put it out there on Twitter, quote me, clip it, whatever. I'll say it on AFR later. The offer that LSU's collective made to DJ Pickett is more money than any player on LSU's team is currently making through LSU's collective. So what else do you do? I mean, if Oregon wants to go pay more than that, and that's the tipping point, then what do you do? What do you do? Anyway, Gregory Gordy, what does Oklahoma and Texas media crews think of SEC Media Day? I think they are they're a little taken aback. And it's been very cool. I've gotten to meet a lot of them. There's a lot of Texas and Oklahoma radio people. As a matter of fact, literally right next to us is where we are. To our right is a Norman station, and then the next station is an Austin, Texas station. So I've been able to chat with all of them. I think they're a little impressed. I mean, this is a 4-day circus, whereas the Big 12 Media Day was not. So yeah, I think it mostly the great thing about this event for the media is the networking. And so I think for so many people who cover Texas and OU, kind of getting into this ecosystem and meeting the conference-wide media people, making those connections, I think that's been helpful for them. Rocky, you've been killing it this week, Matt. Thanks for all the access you've given us. You got it, Rocky. Thank you all for listening, man, and watching. Trivia, what's going on, man? Christian, also random observation. You haven't been numbering the episodes. So I do number them on Facebook, and then they're numbered in the description, Christian. So the reason is it's a YouTube algorithm thing in the description on YouTube. I don't want to have Morning Scone and a bunch of numbers in the title of the episode on YouTube for algorithm purposes. So anyway, that's why. But if you look in the description, it is numbered in the description. Randall, you can't make a kid do something. All you can do is do your best. Man, I'm behind. Let's see, trivia. If you ain't going to stick to 7:30 start time, you got to send a tweet. I don't like showing up late. It's all good, man. This trivia, it's a one-off this week, man. And I'm not going to tweet the link while OTB is on the air. So I'm here for our live morning sconers that are always here, and people can go back and watch it whenever they do. But I'm not gonna tweet it out while they're live on the air. Michael Castello, what's going on from Universe? Okay, Michael, good looking out, dude. Hey, Dad, good morning. Hope y'all are having a great week. Hugh, don't forget about John Pearson. John Pearson's probably a red shirt this year, um, uh, and might stick in the outfield. Might be more of a DH. I had somebody that I trust a lot compare him and what his role will be at LSU, kind of to Cade Beloso, which if his career plays out the way Cade's did, obviously, hopefully not with the injuries and all that, but as far as being just a really good SEC hitter who packs a punch and can be a devastating piece, anywhere up and down your lineup, that'd be really good. I just don't know that it's this year for John Pearson. Hey, Brad, good morning. Gunner, Jones, Milan, Braswell, Dickinson going to be a great infield. Larson, Brown, someone else stepping up as the third outfielder in DH. Aaron Beatty, Priester catching. I like this team a ton. I agree. Craig, what's going on? Joshua Foster, listening to you this year made the MLB draft a lot more interesting. Awesome. Thank you, Joshua. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I try to explain some of the nuance of the MLB draft. It's just such a different process than any other draft. So, and I know there's just a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings about the draft. So, but yeah, thank you all for watching and for listening and all that good stuff. Fred Martinelli, Matt, I'm spending much of my day watching Locked On LSU Morning Scone. I love it, Fred. Thank you so much, man, for consuming any and all the content, however, whenever, wherever you can, man. I appreciate it. Remember, y'all, shout out to Brock. Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Brock Rock and Wine, coming up a week from Saturday, presented by Audi of Baton Rouge at Tiger Stadium. Get your tickets, brortho.com, brortho.com. Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. All the info scrolling on the bottom about our sponsors. I would love, be so appreciative. If you think you might have roof damage, we'd love to give you a free, no obligation roofing inspection. You don't even have to be home. Go to the website's pinned in the chat, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Fill out the form. We'll send someone out to the house to get you all ship shape. Maybe it's not you. Maybe it's a friend, a neighbor, a coworker, a relative. Let them know if they have roof issues. Call the best. Parish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com. And Unique Physique, uniquephysique.com. Semaglutide, tirzepatide, once a week injections for weight loss. And remember, they offer telemed consults. So if you don't even want to go in and physically meet with a doctor, you can do it over the phone and learn more about that process. And right now at Unique Physique, by your first month, they'll give you, for new customers, they'll give you your second month of injections for free. So uniquephysique.com. Check them out. Okay, let's see if we can get a few more in here. Let's see. Cliff, what's good, dude? Did you see Leah Van? I have not seen, it's a good question. I've not seen Leah. I don't know if Leah's here. I thought Leah was maybe she left Baton Rouge and went to Austin, was covering Texas, but I think I saw where she's on an MLB beat now. Maybe for the Astros or for the Rangers. I need to check. I don't know, but I have not seen her here. David Tolson, is DJ Pickett really that good? He's the consensus number one cornerback in America. He's a legit 6'4", 180 pounds. He's out of Florida, has offers from everybody. 3 of the 4 recruiting services rank him as the number one cornerback. 24/7 for some reason him as the number 3 cornerback, but 3 of the 4 have him as the number one cornerback in the country. So yeah, I mean he's the best corner. He's the guy everybody wants, and Corey Raymond has LSU in the final 3, and LSU's put together a really good NIL deal, and we'll find out today what the decision is, but a lot of industry people think it's going to be Oregon. Brian Wynn, Matt, I have to take a trip up. I have to take up for trivia with the 7:30 start time. First was vacation, now SEC Media Days. As LSU fans, we don't like change, LOL. I'm doing my best, y'all. Like, the routine of the school year makes the 7:30 start time easy, right? That's when I get up. That's when we start. I'm done at 8, get through school, all that stuff. The summer is just a little different. I do the best I can, so my apologies when we start a little later. Aaron, outfield is 5 players that should be 100% on the field: Pearson, Larson, Brown, Curry, Stanfield. Sure, I could go with that. That's a really, really talented group of 5 there. Rocky, he better be, or we're going to have some PO'd All-Americans. Who are we talking about? Let's see. Oklahoma reporter asked Perkins about a random Oklahoma linebacker. Perk was like, "Who? Are they really that absorbed in their team?" So it wasn't a random Oklahoma linebacker. It's the guy that's like their all conference player. And Harold Perkins' answer was like, "To be perfectly honest, I don't know who you're talking about." Um, I think, and I don't think that's necessarily them about their team. And there was a situation that happened one time. It, I'll tell the story really quickly. Then we got to wrap because I do have a 9 o'clock. I have to call Erica because I haven't talked to her yet this morning. There was a so this was the 2011 national championship game, Alabama and LSU. And some of you may remember this story, but I was standing right there when it happened. Um, so Sam Montgomery was asked about by an Alabama reporter about Bear Bryant, and um, Sam's response was something to the effect of like who I don't think I've seen any game film on him. Um, and he didn't know who Bear Bryant was, and it became this like outrageous thing for Alabama people, like that they took it like it was such a slight. And I tried to explain at the time, like, Sam Montgomery's a kid from South Carolina who didn't grow up loving football. His favorite sport was basketball. And Sam was just a giant kid. Like they called him Sonic Sam because he loved Sonic the Hedgehog. Like he played video games all the time and just he wasn't a guy that watched a lot of football. Like he wasn't a guy who studied the history of the SEC. I mean, think about it. Like Bear Bryant had been dead for 20 years when Sam Montgomery was born. You know what I mean? Like there's no reason for him to know that. Um, so it wasn't a slight. Sometimes I think we just lose context of what people actually care about. Like I don't think Harold Perkins is sitting around watching Oklahoma football games on Saturdays. So I think it's an important lesson for everybody in the media to realize, like, I mean, there are fans who love the sport, but like, I mean, I tell you, like, I'll do interviews sometimes, and I'll hear people out, yeah, we got, this five. What do you think about this 5-star receiver who's coming to Auburn? I'm like, I don't think I've ever heard that name. Like, because I don't cover Auburn, I'll know what I need to know when I need to know it, sort of thing. But like, how can you expect players to know or care? So I agree with you, but I think it's something that's fairly common that you know, like, did y'all hear the interview I did last week with Zion Williams? If I had Zion Williams on AFR. If you missed it, would highly recommend you go back and listen. And I asked him something similar. I was like, who do you model your game after? Who do you like to watch? And he's like, his answer was like, you want to hear like the funniest thing in the world? Like, I don't watch football. And I'm like, I get. He's like, I'll watch the Super Bowl, but like, why do I want to watch someone else do what I'm supposed to be doing? So like, he doesn't watch football. Okay. Anyway, Lisa, good morning. Noah, any update on Landon Victoria? Yeah, I'm told that's probably a no-go. Last one, Rocky. Sorry for the language. I was responding to David Tolson. All good. No worries, no worries, no worries, no worries. Okay, y'all have a great day. I got to bounce. As always, shout out to Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Remember, week from Saturday, Brock Rock and Wine, presented by Audi of Baton Rouge at Tiger Stadium. Looking forward to being there and hope to see all of you there as well. Please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell on YouTube, Facebook, like the Matt Moscona page, share the post. Let's see real quick. Jason, Matt, you talking shoes and no socks that the kid from Georgia was great. You told him to go get an NIL deal with no show socks. Yeah, man, I told him to go get a deal with Dead Sox. So I need to send that to the Dead Soxy guys. They'd love that. Bradley, good morning. Okay, y'all, have an awesome day. We'll see you. Peace.